Can you hear me now? I'm sorry. I didn't have the microphone turned on. This is strange. So this is the second day of I'm gonna have to start all over. So this is the second day of our retreat. And I'd like to talk about during this retreat, I'm going to be exploring the teachings from the Prajnaparamita and the Yogacara teachings. There are considered to be three turnings of the wheel in the Buddhist tradition. And the first turning of the wheel of Dharma are the early teachings from the Buddha himself. They consist usually, they are thought of as consisting of the Four Noble Truths, dependent origination, and the five skandhas and the Abhidharma teachings. And then the second turning of the wheel is considered to be the teachings from the Prajnaparamita tradition. And then the third turning of the wheel is considered to be Yogacara teachings. So the early teachings that come to us through Buddhism tend to be analytical, and the emphasis is on knowledge. And and these teachings are profound and wonderful. And as Buddhism developed, what happened in the Abhidharma, which is really an exploration of Buddhist psychology, and there was a tendency in the Abhidharma to view the self as empty, but the outside world as real. So the self was seen as empty, and seeing the emptiness of self was considered to be the teaching that would free us from suffering. Because the self that we create is a source of a lot of suffering. But they tended to solidify the Dharma down, they kind of try to reduce it down to the most minute thing, the most minute Dharma. And so there was a tendency to, although they saw emptiness of self as an experience that would release us from suffering, they did not see the emptiness of the external world, so to speak. And so the Prajnaparamita teachings develop in part as a reaction against that teaching. And in the very beginning of the Heart Sutra, if we have time to explore it, we'll be able to see that the beginning of the Heart Sutra is actually talking as a reaction against that teaching. So that the Prajnaparamita teachings are saying emptiness, both the self and both the inside and the outside are empty. Both the subjective self is empty, but also the external objective, the world that we objectify as real, that is also empty. And it was considered to be really important to have both of these things more than understood, but appreciated and realized to be released from suffering. Now, the other thing that is clearly different in Prajnaparamita teachings is it's no longer just about knowledge, it's about insight. So at the beginning of that Heart Sutra, it says, Avalokiteshvara doing deep Prajnaparamita. He's doing Prajnaparamita. He's not studying it. He's not thinking about it. He is doing it. So all these teachings in the Heart Sutra have to do with going beyond knowledge, going beyond knowing, insight. Prajna is the wisdom beyond wisdom. Prajna is not wisdom about something. Prajna is direct. It is just wisdom. And so these Prajna Paramita teachings are about insight. And there is a tendency to get stuck in the Prajna Paramita teachings, tending to emphasize emptiness as non-existence. If you look at the early images in Buddhism that come out of India, there are no images of people. The first images of Buddhism, or the symbols, are like the eightfold wheel, footprint. And so there's a sense in which even these teachings in the Prajna Paramita are, at least in the early Indian teachings, are almost about an absence. And that kind of non-existence becomes a problem in the tradition. So the Yogacara tradition comes along to talking about the Tathagata Garbha, the Buddha nature, and is a kind of correction to the tendency in the Prajna Paramita tradition to overemphasize non-existence. So what we're trying to talk about here is how we know anything, our own experience, what mind is, what is consciousness. Neuroscientists are continuing to try to understand what consciousness is, and there is no agreement in the scientific community about what consciousness is. There are certainly neuroscientists that are completely reductive and say consciousness is nothing more than the brain. That's one possibility. And from that, those kind of scientists basically say there is no free will. We do not have agency. I have found, and because I think a lot about the consciousness, I have found the Buddhist teachings much more satisfying when it comes to trying to understand what consciousness is. And I think the Yogacara teachings go a long ways to helping to clarify what consciousness might be. We are living in a very strange world right now, with a totally disruptive technology of AI, which everyone is talking about. There are positive possibilities and negative possibilities, and it is happening rapidly. And we are moving into a world that we are not going to recognize within a few years. There's kids walking by the Zen Center. They're really cute. So, how we know anything is really getting thrown into question. How you know anything is true that you see on social media or YouTube or on the internet is now completely in question. Anybody that you admire and respect as a source of authority about something truthful, they could be fake. They can be faked easily now. It's actually easy to fake a video of any public figure. Yeah, it's just, this is the world we're living in. You can say, I don't like it. It's not good. This is the world we're living in. So actually, the teachings that we are practicing here are more than relevant, because the Yogacara teachings, often known as the mind-only school, what they are saying is all we have is our subjective experience. The world out there that we objectify, that's a delusion, that's a perception. That's not solid, that's empty. And our subjective experience is empty too. So if we had a practice as we do, where we sit and be still, as we are doing in this retreat, well, then we can find the authority within ourselves, within our own experience. That's all you have. That's all you're left with. It's not out there somewhere. You're not going to get it out there. So what I'd like to do this morning is do a big mind facilitation with you all. And it is completely experiential. And then I think that once we do this, we will have a ground upon which to build and talk about these, what I consider to be some of the most profound teachings about the nature of mind and consciousness that come from the Yogacara tradition. And we'll start with the Heart Sutra and touch on the teachings of emptiness that come up in the Heart Sutra, and then and especially the teaching about the 5 skandhas, and then we'll move on and talk about the Yogacara as time permits. So this big mind facilitation is a upaya, or skillful means, that was developed by Genpo Roshi, my Dharma brother. And Genpo Roshi took big mind from a therapeutic modality called voice dialogue that was developed many years ago by Hal and Sidra Stone. And Hal and Sidra Stone were Jungian therapists, and they developed a way of speaking to that in us, which is the constellations that develop in us as different roles, different parts of ourselves. And these different parts have their own unique voices. And this is basic psychology. You might say, oh, this is like, what, we have multiple personalities? No, not at all. We have voices. We have constellations. We have archetypes that constellate through a role. So, for instance, we all have an inner critic. You know about the inner critic, don't you? You know that one. We all have an inner child. Bashful, shy, sweet, very sweet, sweet spot. We all have a controller, protector, a pusher. We have these, and so what Hal and Sidra discovered was that they could speak to these parts of ourselves, and these parts each part would have its own voice, its own distinct voice, its own psychophysical energy that would go with it. And if we had time, I could do this with you. And we would basically, the way this, and I'm going to describe it rather than do it because we don't have time. But in voice dialogue, if the therapist was here talking to me, I would be starting out sitting in the chair of myself, my primary self, Robert. And there'd be two chairs, with chair on each side of me. And the therapist would say, Bob, now I want you to go sit over in this chair over here. And I'd sit over in this chair. And as an example, which I like to use when I talk about this, the therapist would say, now, Bob, I'd like to talk to the pusher. Well, I'm sitting over here now, right? And I say, okay, the pusher. And now I speak in the first person as the pusher. And I'm, I'm pretty ambitious. I'm ambitious. Actually, I'm kind of greedy too. I want a lot of things. I want more of almost everything. So we explore the pusher. And if I am identified with the pusher, if that works for me in the world, then I will identify with that pusher, right? That will be, let's say, 95% of my identity. If that works for me, if that makes me a lot of money, then I'll identify with that. And I feel like, a hero. I feel like a genius. Okay? And now so I speak in the first person as the pusher, and we explore that in the therapy, and then at some point the therapist says, now I want you to go sit back in the chair as Robert, and then we have a conversation. What was that like? I said, wow, I didn't know I had that pusher. That pusher's really got a lot of energy, gets a lot of things done for me in the world. I go to work, and it's pretty busy though. Pretty busy. Pretty busy wants to know a lot of things, is always looking, searching. Yeah, okay. Now, so we talk about that for a while, and I'm myself, right, talking about that experience I had as that self over there. And now the therapist says, now I want you to go sit in this chair over here. Okay. So who am I over here? And the therapist says, how about let's talk to the slacker. The who? The slacker. Oh, I don't know who that is. Slacker? Let me see if you can speak in the first person of slacker. I don't like slackers. They're irresponsible. They smoke too much marijuana. They don't get anything done. They're goof-offs. They don't do anything in the world. I have all kinds of judgments about the slacker because I have identified with the pusher. So in psychology, we always have the two sides of ourselves. There's the side that is owned and the side that is disowned. And the side that is owned is my primary identification in that role. And there is always the opposite of that role. Often it's just, now if I was well balanced, I would be 50% a pusher and 50% a goof off. And and in terms of psychology, so what we're trying to do is, if I'm not identified with the slacker, then the therapist is trying to encourage me to, well, try it out, Bob. I mean, she's not calling me Bob here. She's calling me the slacker. Try out being the slacker. You're not going to lose your pusher over there. So just try this out for a little bit. And I try it out, and finally I get used to it. I say, yeah, slacker's kind of fun, he's kind of playful. He kind of, he makes mistakes quite a lot, but he seems to be kind of creative fellow, actually, I kind of like him, and so he doesn't want to take a job where you would have to get any kind of new clothing for it. That's what I say about the slacker. Don't take a job that says you have to get new clothing. So now I come back over here and sit in the seat of Robert, and we talk about it. So this is what they developed in voice dialogue. And we could take any constellation like the controller and talk about that. And to the degree that you're identified with that archetype or that role or that constellation, that to that degree you've disowned the opposite of it. And the idea of therapy in this modality would be, can I sit in this chair as Robert and pick which one I want to use depending on the situation I'm in? So if I go on vacation and I'm, at the beach in Southern California, I don't necessarily want to bring my computer along with me with my spreadsheets to be going over finances for the Zen Center. I don't want to do, that's the pusher. No, I want to bring the slacker and have some fun. I want to drink a beer. Maybe I want to smoke a joint, play, goof off, have fun. Yeah, I could choose that. That would be psychological freedom, to be able to choose. If I can't choose that because I have a judgment about that, then I've disowned that part of me. You understand what I'm saying? So seems to me, a lot of psychological well-being and healthiness is learning. We talk about the shadow, is that those energies which we have disowned, and we've all disowned energies in ourselves, are a loss of our own authenticity and vitality as a human being. And the more we can own those disowned parts, then the more vitality and energy we have, the more authenticity and agency we have as a human being. So that's basic psychology. Now, Genpo took this and built Big Mind out of it. And the difference is that instead of speaking to psychological parts of ourselves in Big Mind, we're speaking to spiritual voices. Okay? So what I'd like to do this morning is to do a Big Mind facilitation. Some of you have done this with me, some of you haven't. And I'm not going to talk too much. I don't want you to think about it too much. So I'm just going to go into it. And what I'm going to do here is invite you to, when I ask you to make a little shift in your chair, so that I'm going to invite you to speak in a particular role that I invite you to be in, and to be in that role as the first person, okay? And then we're gonna build something out of this and then talk about it afterwards, okay? So you just have to be willing to play along. There's no right or wrong answers here. We're not gonna move the camera around so you have some anonymity, but you don't have to say anything that would cause you to feel overly vulnerable or unsafe or anything. So you all take care of yourself if we do this. And this is just a way to explore another way of having our own experience of what we're often talking about intellectually through a lot of words when we talk about the teachings. Okay? Are you all willing to do this? Any concerns before I start? So I'd like you to just shift in your chair slightly. Make a slight shift. So you're shifting from your normal whole self to a part that I'm going to ask to speak to now. I'd like to speak to the one who seeks the way. Okay? I'll just sit with this for a moment. You're the one who seeks the way. See what this feels like. Who am I speaking to? The one who seeks the way. Tell me about yourself. What do you do? What's important to you? I'm not going to pass the mic, so if you speak up, I'll just repeat what you say so people online can hear. Just one at a time.
I look under the engine of the universe to see what's working, how it works.
I look on the
under the engine of the universe.
Oh, I look under the edging of the universe and just see how it works. Okay, good.
Seeking truth. Seeking truth.
I seek truth. Speak in the first person.
I seek truth.
Okay, you seek truth. Good. Yeah.
Go to retreats.
I go on retreats.
I read a lot.
I read a lot. Would you be here if you weren't the one who seeks away? Would you even be here in this Buddha hall right now? You'd be somewhere else, wouldn't you? Didn't you get yourself here because you're seeking the way? Didn't you arrange your life because you're seeking the way so that you could sit meditation instead of, I don't know, go skydiving? You could be doing skydiving, or you could be fishing or something, a million other things, but you're here in a retreat. What else? What else do you do? Tell me more about yourself. I want to know about you, the one who seeks the way.
I'm struggling because I'm not getting it fast enough. I'm struggling because I'm not getting it fast enough.
I struggle because I'm not getting it fast enough, and maybe I'm looking for a faster way. If there was a faster way, I would go looking for that, right? Okay, so do you feel a little impatient then about it?
Yes, I feel impatient with myself.
Okay, I feel impatient with myself. Yes. You want to say more?
I'm liking the path so far. I'm enjoying the changes that are taking place.
Okay, so even though you're frustrated with how long it takes, you're also enjoying the changes that are happening for Ungal.
Yes.
I search for validation in other cultural and historical and philosophical beliefs to try to draw corollaries to make.
I search for validation in other cultural beliefs
and
philosophies
to see how it's similar to my Tao.
Okay, so you're doing kind of cross-cultural studies that will help confirm what you're learning here.
Yeah.
Yes, that makes sense. We do a lot of that in mindfulness teachings. We're using neuroscience and psychology to confirm a lot of the things that we know that we've learned about mindfulness from the Buddhist tradition. Yes. So when you do cross-cultural learning and you end up with the same thing but from a different discipline, that confirms that other thing that you know, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So in searching for the way, you're using we have access to all the world's religions, and you're using other philosophies and religions to confirm what you're learning about the way that you're looking for in Buddhism.
Correct, absolutely.
Yeah. Anyone online want to say anything? What do you do as the one who searches for the way?
Well, I try to integrate all the different parts of myself, but now I have to deintegrate to do
what?
this. Now I have to deintegrate to do this exercise. I think for me, the one who seeks the way is the one who's trying to fix life.
You're trying to fix life. Speak in the first person.
I'm trying to fix life, and it doesn't work because I keep running up against the fact that it's about life not being fixable. It's about life as it is, but I keep trying to fix it. I keep thinking it's going to fix my problems.
Oh yeah, you keep trying to fix things. Well, some things you can fix. Some things you have to fix, like if the toilet's overflowing, you have to fix it, right?
Right.
Call a plumber and they fix it. But there's some things you can't fix. That's what you discover, right?
Or some things spiritual practice can't fix.
Some things spiritual practice can't fix.
Mm-hmm.
You want to say more?
I think that's the lesson that I keep learning as the person who seeks the way.
Okay, you're seeking the way, and you're finding that the way you're seeking isn't going to solve all your problems.
That's right.
Yes, good. That's a good one. Anyone else?
I tried
Yeah,
I,
James.
I tried to control the way in a similar vein to
Uh-huh.
I try if the path goes left and I don't like left, I'm gonna make it go right.
Uh-huh.
And unfortunately it doesn't go right.
Uh-huh. Okay, so you try to use your willpower to
Oh yeah.
master the way, and it doesn't seem to take you too far.
No, it doesn't necessarily conform to my wishes.
So as the one who searches for the way, you sometimes get in the way of the way,
Oh, absolutely. It's my favorite pastime.
which might be the source of some of the frustration that I heard Ungo talking about, is that we have a earnest desire for the truth, and in our earnestness, we kind of shoot ourselves in the foot. That right?
That sounds right, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Anything? What's your job description as the one who seeks the way? If you had to write a job description, what would it sound like? My job is to.
Retirement.
My job is to retire.
Yes.
My job is to retire. Well, I like that one. I think I'm going to write that job description up. I'm going to work on that. What's your job description?
Stay.
Huh?
Stay.
Stay? My job is to stay. You want to say more?
To just live in this discombobulation inside. Just be still.
To live in this discombobulation, to stay with this discombobulation, to not avoid it. That sounds kind of like what we mean by practice, to bear witness to it. That's part of your job as the one who seeks the way. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, good. So we could spend a lot of time, couldn't we, just talking about the one who seeks the way. Okay? So we're going to build a triangle now, and on one apex of this triangle here, we've spoken to the one who seeks the way. Now we're going to come over here to another apex of this, on this side of the triangle. I want you to shift your chair a little bit. And I'd like to speak to the way. And just sit with this for a moment. See what comes up for you as the way, and speak in the first person as the way.
I'm full of love.
You're full of love, okay? Yes, you are. Who am I speaking to? Tell me about yourself. What's it?
Perfect in my imperfections.
You're perfect in your imperfections. What's it like to be the way right now? What is it like? Speak in the first person as the way. I'm giving you permission to speak in the first person as the way. What is this like? Huh? I'm trustworthy. Mhm.
I'm Pona Akatela.
I'm what?
Pona Akatela. I was once driving through Idaho and passed Pocatello and decided to figure out what that meant. Pocatello is a Shoshone word that means off the road. Chief Pocatello used to attack the white settlers from off the road. Ho'na'akatello, I had to look it up in the Shoshone dictionary, means center of the road. I try to maintain center of the road, not go off the road.
Do you try, or do you just argue the center of the road?
I am Ho'na'ak, I am the center of the road.
Is there a, so the question is there a, as the way, do you try at anything? In that,
Only when I'm wrong. I try when I'm similar to what James said. I'm incorrect when I try. I have to learn to not try.
no, who am I speaking to right now?
I am the way.
So how are you incorrect as the way?
If I try to force a direction in the way rather than allow it.
But that sounds like somebody else other than the way. That sounds like the one who's still looking for the way.
I'll get back to you later.
I'm trying to speak to the way right now. I'm not, I'm trying to understand how there'd be trying as the way. I can see as the one who is searching for the way, how you'd be trying. I'm also not, it's not clear to me how you could be wrong.
I think I'm confusing the way with the one who searches for the way.
So just come back and see what it would be like to be the way. I'm confident. Yeah. What else?
I'm free.
Hmm?
I'm free.
I'm free. Can you say more?
I am unbound by anything.
Okay. Okay, you're not bound by anything, you're authentic. Yeah. All the way through and through.
I'm available to all.
You're available to all. Can you say more? That's good. Yeah.
Anyone can access.
So you don't pick and choose, sounds like. You're not biased.
Right. Inclusive of all.
You include all without judgment, sounds like. Wow. That's pretty big. You're pretty big.
Everything.
You're bigger than everything. How big is that? How big are you?
You can imagine.
Can you measure how big you are?
Beyond measure.
You're big beyond measurement. What's it like to be bigger than you can define or measure or quantify? Well, do you have a beginning? Did you begin? Do you have a birthday? What's it like right now, right here, right now, energetically, to be here and not have a birthday?
I've always
Huh?
I've always been here.
You've always been here. Yeah. So are you going to die? Is there a date on which you disappear and die? No. What is it like?
It is.
Huh?
It simply is.
It just is. Uh-huh. Anyone online want to speak as the way?
I'm wild ducks that went flying past.
Oh, you're wild ducks that went flying past. This sounds like a Zen koan.
Yeah. Yeah, but they never fly away. So I just am. I just am.
You
I
want
look
to tell
up.
the story about this koan, James?
Yeah, sure. So there's a master and his student Bai Zhang, and he saw some wild ducks flying past, and the great master Ma said, "What was that?" And Bai Zhang said, "Wild ducks." And Master Ma said, "Where did they go?" And Bai Zhang said, "They went flying past." And Master Ma yanked Bai Zhang's nose so hard that he cried, and then he said, "They never fly away." And so in my eye, I'm a wild duck that flies past, but yet never flies away.
Uh-huh. No coming or going.
No coming, no going,
Coming or going.
no birth, and no time of death.
No time, no space. Can you get this energetically in your body right now? Can you actually allow yourself to be this now? Pretty big. Do you suffer? Do you suffer? I think you could say yes or no. You could probably answer it both ways. In what way do you suffer?
I still have feelings.
Hmm?
I still have feelings.
You have feelings. Okay, so you have emotions, you include emotions. Do you suffer in the same way that the one who was looking for you a while back?
No.
No, but you could empathize, you could sort of feel sorry for that busy guy that's looking for you that doesn't seem to find you. Yeah.
I can be sad and still be okay.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So what's it like as the way when you look across here and look at that where you came from as the one who's looking for you? What do you see when you look over here and you look at this one who's looking for the way from your place as the way? What do you see? Huh? Grasping, trying hard, anxiety, stress. Yeah. You see that? Do you have that here as the way? But you somehow include it at the same time, but you don't seem to have it in the same way. Okay. Because you're everything. So there would be nothing that is not included here in you, but you don't have it in the same way. You get this? Are you getting this? Okay, so we're now gonna want you to, you want to say anything, Robert? Oh, nah. Okay, so we built these two sides of the triangle. So I want you to shift your chair once more. We're going to go up here to the third point of the triangle. We're just going to call this the apex. And at this place, you have both the one who seeks the way and the one who is the way. We're just going to call it the apex for the moment, okay? I want you to sit with this for a moment. And what is it like to be the apex that includes both the one who is searching for the way and the one who is the way? And just sit with that for a moment. What's this like energetically? Who am I speaking to? The apex. What's it like here for you as the apex? You have an itch? What do you mean?
That, sorry, that anxious little thing over there, that little gnat, that itch,
That's itching?
that little thing is itching.
Can you say more?
Yeah, it's just this little teeny itch in a place that's kind of hard to get to, and it's distracting. It's a little itch.
Okay, you include this little itch.
Yeah, it's an itch.
Oh, it's not a big scratch, it's just a little.
Yeah, it's not a rash or anything.
Okay, I get it. So it's not a big, it's not like knocking you over, it's not hurting you, it's a little itch. It's a, yeah, okay. Okay, I got it. Okay, yeah. Okay, okay. But you also have, yeah, you have both of these
Yeah.
where you are now. You have a back scratcher? What's it like to include both the way and the one who looks for the way? What's it just like? Energetically, what's it like? Before you think about it. More tender. Uh-huh. Can you say more? Uh-huh. You have more compassion than the one who was away. Can you say more? Yeah.
I don't know, it's like a more complete understanding of the seeker, or having off everything. It just brings, I feel like, more love or compassion.
Uh-huh.
All
You feel more love and compassion for all of it. Yeah.
I'm still the way.
Huh?
I'm still the way. As both.
You're still the way, and you're the one who looks for the way. You're both. And what's it like being both?
Good days and bad days.
There are good days and bad days. Yeah. Yeah. There will be good days and bad days. Yeah. The RV is going to get stuck in mud.
I have agency.
Hmm?
I have agency. I have a choice.
Oh, you have agency and a choice. Good. Can you say more? Yeah.
And I feel like looking at both, the seeker and searcher and the way, I'm therefore a Dharma gate that can be opened or not opened.
You can choose which one to use.
Or not choose.
Uh-huh, or not choose.
Right, and so I can fall into the seeker and searcher who makes the mistakes, or I can become the apex.
So at the apex right now, when you look down on the way, you're aware that you have a choice that's something different at the apex than when you were the way.
Absolutely.
As the way, do you choose?
No, that was my, that
So
was the
here
problem
you
I
have a
was having,
choice.
right? Yes.
Now, so we can see that you have a choice where the way didn't really have a choice. What's different at the apex than the one who seeks a way? What's different for you now?
I think integration.
You still have, you include the one who searches for the way, but how are you different than just being the one who looks for the way? Because you also include the way now. Anyone want to say that? What's different? How are you different than the one who, what's shifted and changed for you from the one who was looking for the way? You include the one who looks for the way, but how are you different than that now at the apex? You get out of your own way. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. You're looking for the way, but you're not getting in the way. Ah, yeah. So you can feel compassion for this busy one down here that's scrambling all around, reading all these books, listening to Dharma talks and going to retreats and stuff. You can feel compassion for that one, right? Tenderness. And that one often shoots themselves in the foot and gets anxious and stressed out, and you feel compassion for them. You can have that suffering but not get taken down by it in the same way. Yeah? Yeah, okay. All right. So I'm going to come back and be our normal selves, whatever that is. Selves that have a name and a birth date. How was that? Fun? It was fun. It's a bit of a journey. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So what I'd suggest when you sit with this, Blair, is try not to think too much about it. Do it almost like you would do therapy. So you just embody it. Try to get energetically what each one is, before you think too much about it. To see if it comes to you that way. There's no right or wrong answers here. And this is a very big, we just covered a lot of we covered a lot of ground in a very short period of time. So this is something you can sit into as you're, I would suggest not approaching this too intellectually, but more from an embodied place. What's the energy feel like to be at the apex and include both the way and the one who looks for the way? Anyone want to say anything about this, what we just went through? It seems to me this is what our teachings are about, these three things. We all live in the relative world of differences. We all have our individuality. We're all different. Oh my God, we're different. We're all totally different from each other. There's no way we're the same. First of all you have hair on your head. So, right there. No, I'm not the same as you. You got a good head of hair. So we're all different. We're over here. The relative side, the different, and the sutras are all talking about identity, relative, and absolute that we chant every morning. Is about integrating these two. We're talking about integration here, right? So there's a difference, our individuality, and then there is that in us which is beyond concepts, beyond knowledge. You can't get this through knowing, because knowing is dualistic, and this isn't. The way isn't dualistic. If there was someone who knew the way, then there would be some object out there. There would be me knowing something. And the way is not knowing. The way doesn't know in that, doesn't differentiate. All the teachings, read any of the sutras, they're all Buddha nature, emptiness, shunyata, they're all talking about this. This doesn't differentiate. We're all the same here. And there is no being or non-being. It's a huge teaching in the Heart Sutra. It's a huge teaching of the Buddha. There is no eternal truth, eternalism, and there is no atheism. There is no, those two polarities are what the Buddha was saying. He's not teaching either one of those. He's teaching the middle way, down the middle of the road, right down the middle of the road. So wisdom, anytime we say, I'm alive, we're automatically saying the opposite. I'm dead. If you see both sides when you say it, that's freedom. That's like having both sides in therapy. both sides in big mind. That's the middle way. If you can see that birth includes death, that's the middle way. We don't do that. We pick one side or the other. We say, oh yeah, it's for, we get all, look at what we're doing in our culture about the way politicians are twisting themselves into pretzels, trying to define when life begins. What a enormous amount of suffering that's creating, mostly for women. Men too, though, but women especially. What a bunch of BS. Sorry for my French. So, basic teaching of Buddhism is the unborn, the deathless. We are interconnected, and we are, a big word in Yogacara is formation. We are formed. Nothing, we don't exist unto ourselves, and nothing in our world exists unto itself. We are all interconnected in all kinds of ways that are larger than we can know. So we appear when the conditions are right. That doesn't mean that we were born out of nothing. And we disappear when the conditions are such that we're going to disappear. That doesn't necessarily mean that we die and disappear into nothingness. Being and non-being. It's very hard not to get hooked by these big dualities. And the Heart Sutra, the Yogacara teachings are all trying to remind us how we get stuck. And when we get stuck, how we create suffering. Trying to define the moment that life begins is such a reductive exercise, and trying to legalize that, oh my God. I can't think of anything more absurd. So all we have is our experience right here, right now. This is what we have. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We can guess, we can surmise, but we really don't know. And we don't know when we're no longer going to be here in this way. And we don't know what's going to happen when we're no longer here in this way. We don't know. Actually, we are the way. You are the way. That is actually who we are. And our tradition is saying that's who you actually are. You're looking for your true nature, it's already here. You can't find it. That's why it's so frustrating when you go looking for it. You're looking for something you can't find. But you wouldn't realize the way if you didn't go looking for it. That's an important point. We got to look for it. We have to arrange our lives in such a way to practice, to clarify, to have insight. You get insight from the Heart Sutra by taking it as far as you can intellectually. You study those 12 nidanas and dependent origination. You study those 5 skandhas. You take it as far as you can, and there's a lot of intellectual meat in the Heart Sutra that you could dig into. Take that as far as you can, and then go past that. Then you can chant that mantra at the end. Gone, gone, gone beyond. And that now you are the way. You always have been. You can't lose it, you can't gain it. And you can't know it. You just are it. You are it. There's no it, there's no object, there's no noun. Oh, what a relief. Isn't that a relief? That there's no objects, that we're not an object in space? Isn't that a relief? To be a verb? To be a river? Our bodies are a process. I mean, we're just like actually, we're kind of messy. If you were to open this up, it'd be kind of messy. So this is the teaching, and I think we're here because we are seeking the way, and it's important that we seek the way, and then we can also discover that there's actually nothing to look for, but we keep looking. I mean, I think the looking is important, and that's why I think it's you can't, if you just say the way is what's important and the looking isn't, that's really dualistic. Now you're saying, oh yeah, it's just about being. That's really dualistic. You got to have both sides. You have to have both of these to be integrated and whole in terms of our teaching and our tradition. That's why this apex is really important, to integrate both sides. And I think that integration comes through the Bodhisattva vow. It's kind of the culmination of the Heart Sutra is the Bodhisattva vow. The vow to save all sentient beings. Like you said, the compassion comes from the apex, doesn't it? It seems to come more that you have a larger view there of both sides. You have both. So you don't get caught in suffering in the same way, and you can bear witness to suffering. You can include it all, as you said.
Compassion comes from one's seeking the way.
Good.
And the way is wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
And it's coming together in the apex.
Yeah, you could think of it. Yeah, you could think of it that way. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's lots of ways we could formulate this intellectually, I think. Yeah.
So your true nature is just a concept.
Yeah, your true nature is not a concept. Yeah, definitely not a concept.
So,
That's confusing, because we're talking about it.
Yeah.
It's confusing the minute we open our mouths. We're already confused.
so we're not looking for the way, we're looking for the endless possibilities of the way.
Whatever. Up to you. That's what June's father would say. Every time I came in her house and her father was there, and I was eating cheese. He'd say, "You want some cheese?" I say, "Yeah." I always say, "Yeah." He says, "Up to you." That's what her father would always say when I made some kind of choice he thought was probably not so wise. Up to you. Up to you. Up to each of us. Okay. Time for lunch.